to a newly coined term called long COVID. Things cannot be placed under the carpet like that because we must know this COVID vaccination is the single largest invasive medical intervention in the public health field in our living room. It is extremely important to know the truth. Without any credible case control study, if we keep on attributing all these bad outcomes to a term called long COVID, it is not only irrational, it shows a dangerous trend too. Now the question is, what could be the biggest obstacle in conducting such a critical study in a convincing way? It is because this COVID vaccination was done without a control group. It means there is no defined population which were not vaccinated without a control group. And with this ongoing mass vaccination program, the situation is in a mess. It is highly likely that we may not know what is the truth. So, clearly, it is a fiasco. Now the question is, who is there on the part of the government or our public health agencies to come up and own this responsibility? We, the practitioners, general practitioners, and practitioners in all the fields, they need a clear-cut scientific guidelines on how to deal with this situation. Not just a ready-made protocol. We do not need that. We need a scientific guideline. Why is there in this? Because some of our patients informed us that some close relatives of them or their friends, they collapsed or had to be hospitalized within weeks or days of vaccination. But they didn't report it. Why? Because due to the absence of wide publicity on the part of the government on how to register side effects or death, most of the people are the victims. They didn't record it either out of fear or out of ignorance. And this poses another problem to this dimension to this problem. So, and one more thing I must say that many of our patients reported that when they showed their prescriptions in a vaccination center that they are taking some heart medicine or they are having some heart ailment, there was none to hear them and they were vaccinated. In fact, in many of the centers, we know that the minimum setup, emergency medicine to handle mandatory observation was not there. So our demand is that these newly found clinical problems that we are facing every day must be declared a genuine medical crisis and public health agencies, including the top bosses, would say emphatically about the safety of the vaccine. Even we can remember that our DCGI, our own DCGI, while approving this vaccine, it said publicly to the press that this vaccine is 110% safe. Now the truth is that around 1,000 people lost their life post-vaccination. And around 49,000 side effects took place. So that assurance was proved to be false one. So it is a call to a government and public health agencies to come forward, rise to the occasion, take up the responsibilities and give us a scientific line of action and please look into the matter scientifically and convincingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gautam Das. We move on to Dr. Megha Kansud. She is from Gurgaon. She is MD and pediatrician. Uh, Please, yes, Dr. Megha. Dr. Megha, unmute yourself. Rushil?
Yeah, I can now. Hi. Hi. Thank you so much, Dr. Gayatri, and thank you so much to my esteemed panelists and for giving me this opportunity. I am a pediatrician. I have done my MD and MBBS from Gandhi Medical College in Bhopal. And more importantly, I have done my neonatology. So I am now a neonatologist in a corporate hospital in Gurgaon. I have been seeing an increase in the number of neonates that come with unexplained causes of infection. So, unexplained for some reason, children that are fully term, that are having good, that should have absolutely no sepsis settings, suddenly have started having early onset sepsis in a degree far more than you would expect, even in a small hospital like mine. We are also seeing a very alarming trend towards having brain clots. We don't expect brain clots at all in babies as small as I see, and this is extremely disturbing. Now, this is just a small snapshot. I am here to talk about three issues. One is that given the fact that we know very well that 80 to 60 to 80% of all children already got COVID thanks to staying in families where COVID was prevalent in the second wave, most children have been vaccinated or have antibodies against the virus already. And this is innate immunity. This is far superior to anything that you can give with vaccination. This is across the board for all viral vaccines. If I have had chickenpox myself, giving me a chickenpox vaccine is, and I'm not going to put a too fine a point on it, it is only making the manufacturers money. It is doing nothing else for me as far as my immunity is concerned. That is one. Two, there is a very simple thing known as primum nocere, which means first do no harm. When you are injecting a product that you don't know what is going to happen, so many people have said there are so many problems coming up in adults now. The first thing you do is you do not give it to patients that A have not suffered from it, B that have no complications from it, and C that have actually done beautifully well during the last few waves that we have seen. That means if we are administering this, or if we are arm twisting parents or scaring them into saying that your child will be saved from something by doing this, we are actually giving scientifically completely wrong information. I will go as far as to say this is actually completely unethical in any way that you look at it. The fourth and the most important point, any other vaccine till today has always been given last to pregnant women. The womb is considered sanctum sanctorum. It is the most safe place for any human being. That sanctity has been removed by giving COVID vaccinations untested, unresearched, no long term data at all because it hasn't been long term to pregnant women by actually telling them that it's going to be good for them. This is so wrong on so many levels that I don't even have words to speak it. I don't think anybody who has even an ounce of humanity can even imagine what you have done. We actually don't know what we have done. The effects are going to come on in the progeny, and this was completely unfair. Since I am dealing with babies that are on the cusp of life and death, I can tell you the COVID vaccines given to the mother across the board have not cannot have done any benefit. What I am worried about is, and this is
Unmute yourself, Dr. Megha.
hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So this is absolutely unconscionable. We should not have ever done this. But now that it has been done, at least let us stop now. Children and pregnant women, the most sensitive, the most, the most vulnerable people on the planet. should actually be kept as far from these untested materials. I'm not even going to call them vaccines. I vaccinate for a living. You do not inject a genetically potent substance into a human being and call it vaccine. They have changed the data. They have changed the definitions. When I was doing my pathology, this was called genetic engineering. You do not genetically engineer an entire subset of humanity by just telling them that it's vaccination. It is not fair and it is not done. And finally, and more importantly, the pediatric age group is going to start to see, we've already started to see unexplained hepatitis, unexplained neurological illnesses in adolescents, and heartbreakingly, the pun is intended, myocarditis. This is, again, I mean, we have children dropping dead of strokes and dropping dead of heart disease. As a species, we have failed our young ones. As a species, we have failed our young ones. At least the few professionals that I hear, out of the thousands that exist, at least they have some conscience left. I hope that we are able to carry this movement forward, because this is completely against any form of humanity that I know. And that's all I would like to say. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Megha. We move on to Dr. Arvind Kushwaha. I hope he's here. He is MD Epidemiology from Department of Community Medicine, All India Institute of Medical Sciences from Nagpur. Can we have Dr. Arvind? Sir, unmute yourself.
Unmuted.
There's some issue with your audio.
Yeah, I unmuted myself, but am I audible? That's it.
We are yet not able to hear you properly.
Can you hear me now?
No, not properly. Unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, my audio. Unmuted.
You are audible, but that's quite a break in.
Okay. Is it okay now?
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let me start with first thing, that vaccines have proved to be the most cost-effective public health interventions in the past. And this is a truth which existed before COVID vaccines were introduced. Now, since the COVID vaccine,
Sir, you're not audible now.
Maybe Dr. Gayatri, we move to the next panelist and then come back to Dr.
Yeah, okay. So just mute him for now. We can accommodate him next. Okay, then we move on to Dr. Lalit Anande. He has done his MBBS and postgraduate diploma in clinical research. He is from Mumbai. Yes, Dr. Lalit Anande, please. Unmute yourself. Rushil, I think you have to unmute him. He's not able to do it by himself, I guess. Yes, sir, you can say.
Okay, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes.
With so many learned doctors out here, saying so many things. I'm thankful to Dr. Veena Raghavan pointing out to so many things, as well as Meghna, and Dr. Sudha also. When Meghna said, we failed. I mean, we really failed as a generation to give something to our generation next. My neck goes down in shame for what we have done to them. And when Dr. Sudha said, why not track the kind of adverse events which are happening post-COVID vaccination, what we are finding in so many people, in so many ways, why not track? I want to point out something. Why not track means, was this not a trial vaccine, or it was a proven vaccine which had come in market and given to all the public? It is definitely a trial undergoing clinical trials of vaccine. And when something is undergoing clinical trials, the rule number one of this is to undergo training of good documentation practices. Where are we? What are we doing? Any documentations? It is a rule of any clinical trial. GCP, good clinical practices. GDP, good documentation practices. What are we doing? Absolutely zero. I mean, people who took the vaccination, it was the duty of the medical officer over there to document all these things, whatever are happening post-vaccination. I am not saying immediately one day after the vaccination was done. It may be a week, it may be a month, it may be a few years also, maybe 5 years also down the line. It is very much necessity that you go on tracking all the thing and documenting all the things. The digital documentation is there, but nobody does it. All the people who are getting vaccinated and getting all these smaller kind of things from fever, maybe lymphadenopathy, the lymph nodes increasing, to some liver problems, gallbladder problems, cancers, and all those things. The site where they were vaccinating do not know any damn thing about it because the people don't go there and tell them. And more and above, it was a duty of the site which had vaccinated to go on asking, is there any problem? Nothing of that sort is also done. So, if you don't track anything, how do you come to know? In past, with all the drugs, they were tracking everything. In fact, there were so many drugs which came in market, and later on, they found there were some, after being used on larger scale of people across the world, they found some unique adverse reaction and they had to withdraw also. For example, I'm saying quoting an example of Viagra, which had become so famous, so popular. They did come out with, after a large scale use, that it has some cardiac problems. The anti-diabetic called pioglitazone. There are some others also, which they came to know had some adverse reactions. A very famously used, for acidity, something called Zintac was withdrawn from India. There are so many like them which were withdrawn later on because of the adverse events were there, the adverse reactions, long-term things which were there about this vaccine. What? Zero. It was forced upon by doctors to them that this was being caused, this myocarditis, this hepatitis, this gallbladder problem, this so many things which were documented because of the pressure from doctors. But what are the company doing? What is the regulatory authority doing? My biggest question to them, zero. It is just because people are shouting, they are trying to do. Then why are they not doing it? Under whose influence are they? Why are they not doing it? Why are they making people suffer? It's a shameless thing, I must say. Beyond my, I mean, Why are we not tracking? And we are facing with so many kind of things, the explosion of cancer, explosion of tuberculosis, explosion of so many things people are presenting with, and these are close people. A few of my relatives did die, few of my friends did die of the cardiac problems and all the clots and all whatever they are saying. Nothing documented. I mean, where are we going? I leave it upon the learned people of this group, because I have my serious complaint against all the regulatory authority bodies all across the world who audit the clinical trials are doing nothing and sitting quiet because of some higher up pressures to them in a shameless way. Nothing else I would like to say. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Lalitanande. Next, we move on to Advocate Nilesh Ojha, sir, since he has some work ahead. He is a president of Indian Bar Association. So let us hear some legal aspects and help from sir. Sir, please.
Hello everyone. आवाज आ रही है सबको?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
ठीक. So first of all, I will congratulate and appreciate all the doctors for their honest and bold work. The representation prepared by doctors is short but substantive, and I think it will solve all the purpose. Though it is softly worded, as per law,
अभी रुशिल को फिर बोलना पड़ेगा मुझे एंट्री देने के लिए. एक सेकेंड.
so I hope that initiative by all the doctors, and more particularly all the honest and brilliant doctors, will cause a deterrence, and it will open the eyes, and it will be an eye-opener not only for the bureaucrats but also to a common man. My all best wishes, and I hope that very soon the this cause, the mission of transparency and the mission of sending these mafias who are playing with the lives of the humanity to jail will very soon be completed. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, thank you, sir. I think we can now take Dr. Arvind Kushwaha. Arvind Kushwaha, you can now talk.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, so the point is when the vaccines were introduced in COVID pandemic, it was seen as a huge promise, and probably we were told that this will end the pandemic. But unfortunately, we are in a situation today where probably now we are dealing with the pandemic of the vaccinated. Now we are facing a lot of problems because of the diseases and the disabilities and the deaths that are occurring among the vaccinated, and probably because of the vaccine, though it needs to be investigated properly. So to undertake as to what is the volume of this adverse events following immunization in India, I undertook a study because on searching the literature, there were no studies which were targeting the serious adverse events. Most of them initially came with things like very minor kind of adverse events which are common to every vaccine. So obviously, COVID vaccine would also show that. So here I undertook a study on the serious adverse events following immunization from the data that was available from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And to my surprise, it was not easy to find that data. However, once I got hold of the data, there were 13 such documents which were there on the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare site. And from that, I conducted my study. So basically, before I move on to the results, I just want to say a few things about this. Like unprecedented rapid development of vaccines in COVID pandemic and the rapid deployment over such a large scale was something that we have never seen before. And probably it was shown to us or told to us that this is going to solve the so-called biggest kind of pandemic of the century. But somehow we are at a state where we are now recording AFI or adverse events across the world, and they are leading to a lot of new issues like increased deaths, increased cardiac issues, increased cancers, and all those. So we have seen in the past that certain vaccines which did not do well, they were halted or they were stopped. I mean, their use was halted, their use was stopped. Like, for example, there was a rotavirus vaccine incident. There was a incident of death following flu vaccination. Both the vaccine trials or the implementation were halted in the past. So if we have done it in the past, it is amazing that why we are not able to do it now. This vaccine, COVID vaccine, hasn't really served the purpose of meeting two criteria, that is being safe and being effective. It is proving to be neither safe and nor effective in both the senses. That is failing the definition of a vaccine. So we did this study in India, and as I said, 1087 such incidents were recorded, which were from March 2021 to March 2022. And this included the serious adverse events, out of which 387 deaths and 700 hospitalizations were recorded. Unfortunately, out of this 1087 incidents which were there, 90% of them were labeled as coincidental, and probably most of them were labeled as coincidental, not 90%. Sorry, I'll come to the figures later. But what I want to say is 90% of them have received the Covishield vaccine, and 10% only had the Covaxin received. So out of the total deaths, that were 387, half of them had died because of some heart ailment or heart syndrome, like acute coronary syndrome, heart attacks, and all that kind of thing. And 3/4 of the deaths, 3/4, 77% and above, were labeled as coincidental deaths. Now, this is something which is surprising surprising because, labeling something coincidental without adequate investigation, without postmortem, without doing histopathology is not something which we should be doing. And the 1/6 of these deaths had COVID also. Now they were all, those who were found to be RT-PCR positive were labeled as COVID death rather than death due to the vaccine. Now, based on these, we did an estimation as to how many such incidents could be there in India as such. So, based on two assumptions, that is, one is the underreporting factor. So, if we see the VARS, there also the underreporting is there from 1 to 5%. And based on 1% reporting systems or 1% estimate of all reports, we estimate that about 38,700 deaths could have happened in India because of the 387 deaths that have been already recorded, which are recorded there in the site. So we could estimate that 38,700 deaths could have taken place. And based on assumption, another assumption from the US, that is 23 deaths per million doses have happened. So taking that as the bottom line, 41,400 deaths. So between 38,000 to 41,000 deaths could have happened in India based on the 2,000 million doses that have been administered in India. So what we recommend is presently stop this vaccine forthwith. That is what is the first thing that we must be doing. The all other things, because of the vaccine, the antibody dependent enhancement of infection, other things have already been talked about. I don't want to talk about that. But what we need to do is stop this vaccination forthwith. No further vaccination of any children should be done. A very good vaccine adverse event reporting system should be put in place, and most importantly, investigate all deaths occurring henceforth in detail to rule out the role of vaccine. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arvind Kushwaha. We move on next to Dr. Ajay Gupta. Next, he has done his MBBS and he has done his master's in ortho. He is from All India Institute Medical Sciences, Delhi. He was pioneer in establishing correlation between BCG-induced immunity and COVID-19. Many publications in peer-reviewed journals on COVID while serving COVID patients in NCR, the largest COVID hospital. And currently, he is director, professor, head of the department, Azad Medical College. So yes, Dr. Ajay Gupta, please, can we have you?
Actually, he's dropped from the call. Let's take the next panelist and then come back.
Okay. Then we move on to Dr. Banu Prakash. He is a neurosurgeon. He has done his MS in neurosurgery. He has published Nuances of Surgical Skills, developed patient care modules to guide doctors holistically through karma therapy in operations. He is from Bangalore. So yes, Dr. Banu Prakash, you can unmute yourself. Dr. Banu Prakash, can you hear me?
Okay, now, hello friends, everybody. I would like to share some of the pictures here because these are a list of, starting with first thing, Dr. Nilesh Ojha sir created one template of what we call the COVID exemption certificate. And I improvised on this, and we started distributing the certificate so that those who are not interested or those who are not believing in the what do we call the COVID vaccines benefits would exempt themselves from the certificate, from the injections. So with these with this format of COVID exemption certificate, which ran into 8 pages, we could give information, complete information to many of the people who wanted to know what exactly it is. And then many started not taking the injections, and definitely we prevented lot many complications with that. And coming next, I started circulating what is this is the AEFI form. I think yeah, this is the AEFI form which we need to circulate to everybody so that everybody knows what is how to report an adverse event and how to create awareness among the patients, among the doctors, because this is not given at all even to the vaccination centers. Am I being audible? Hello? My video is not seen because I'm sharing the photos. I hope I'm audible. If anybody can give a feedback.
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Thank you. So this is the AEFI form which I particularly insisted to be kept on every doctor's desk in all the hospitals I visit. And I usually copy around 10 to 20 forms of this, and I started reporting most of the cases. And many say that this is difficult to fill. They give lame reasons. Our OPD is busy. We can't fill it up. Until unless we are communicating, we are giving feedback to the people in the authority and also the health authorities, we will never ensure an awareness, because many of these people are not even aware. They have been misled by propaganda that everything is okay, nothing is going to have, no problem is going to happen. And even the patients, even the people, general public, even the authorities and the politicians, they're all in this propaganda. So we need to fill out forms as doctors. And I have filled up form for people who have been treated by others, but just come that saying that okay, this things happened after the vaccination. So and the okay, one second. Sorry, my PowerPoint, my laptop is not connecting, and this is the instructions to fill up the form. So these instructions are very simple, and it can be easily done. So that they have to, everybody has to voluntarily, and we as doctors, we should take the initiative. Till now, I have filled up nearly 150 forms, and so definitely that created a great impetus. See, this is one important patient who developed something like a meningoencephalitis and hydrocephalus with sinus thrombosis. So this is what I call, and he had a brain abscess also. So these are the cases we need to report, and when we report such cases, then only they'll realize that there is something which is going wrong. A 15-year-old school girl who received a vaccine and then she had seizures. So we need to report it so emphatically. Then only they awaken. Then this is another patient who developed multiple brain abscesses, which recurred even after multiple surgeries. So then again, coming to this patient, here an important thing: the husband took the infection, the my husband took the injection, wife had mild COVID sort of a fever, and then she had an abortion. Why? Because the gynecologist on anomaly scan identified that the child did not have a heart development. So the vaccines are not just affecting the same person; they're affecting the family members also. So that is what is the observation. And so one patient had very similar symptoms like nanofilaments going in his veins. So he could feel the filament like irritating worm-like feelings in the veins. And these are some specific unique AFI forms which I have filled up. And this is another person, 36-year-old, who was hale and healthy, a mechanical engineer working in ISRO on contract basis. He developed hypertension of BP 250 by 150 just 3 months after taking the injection, and then afterwards he had an aneurysm which bled, and he didn't have money. He had to be sent to a government hospital for surgery, and that's how we had to manage. And next is this one was a post-COVID injection encephalopathy with toxic effects and causing Parkinsonism disease. and that lady was in very difficulty. Then next would be, so this was a young lady with spastic quadriparesis, and what I have observed is there is a definite racial what do you say specificity, because those papers have also come out saying that there is a racial specificity for the COVID disease also, and also the injections also. So one this patient, he had a stroke during the COVID wave, and then after taking the injection he started having seizures. So this is what is all the I mean the specific targeting of the races. So this is a patient who developed stroke after the booster dose, and I want to say at this point that one of my close friend, a neurosurgeon, who was also my age, he took the third booster dose voluntarily, the first person to take the dose in his hospital, and 3 days later he suffered a massive heart attack. Even in Karnataka, there is a famous actor, Puneet Rajkumar, who took the second dose. He was a mascot for the vaccination drive, and he suffered a massive heart attack after 5 days, and he died. But the news is not is covered up. So, and coming to the other, like after this booster dose, okay, this is another patient. She died. I have given sent AFib reports for many patients who have died. I couldn't retrieve many of them. Many elderly people who had come with strokes, and this is a young lady who just had delivered, who had massive cerebral venous thrombosis, and this lady died after even despite the surgeries. So and okay. So after all, nearly some 150 AFI reports, now doing public awareness campaigns, giving exemption certificates digitally signed across all the public social media, and calling up and meeting many of the authorities, the public health authorities, the politicians, and even the bureaucrats. Then it went to such an extent that even the municipal commissioner of Bangalore, he complained to Karnataka Medical Council saying that I'm because at one point it was a crux wherein the poor people who are working in the garments and other factories were forced to take the injections for their survival and to be working in the jobs. So I just used some harsh words, and they made a big issue out of it, to the extent that they were trying to remove me from the roles. And thanks to all the members of the Awaken India movement, they bombarded them with the mails, they bombarded them with the evidences. So definitely they are saying that we'll take the decision. I had to go nearly 6 months every month to the council, and then give them evidences one after the other. And ultimately, they say that we'll just discuss and decide. Now the BBMP, that commissioner who had complained, himself is removed. So this is how we need to be persistent. We need to be deterrent, and we need to be very much with conviction to fight against this. Otherwise, definitely, even in our neuro club, it was a great fight for me to ensure that every case presentation they did, they should tell that whether the patient had suffered COVID, whether the patient had taken COVID injection, and could this be a complication of the COVID injection. So this is what we need to ensure. So until unless we do, like we insist and persist, we'll never ensure truth for everybody. So this is how gradually now after the AAFI forms, we need to insist that we need to ensure that the patients and the relatives go to the authorities, file for compensation, ensure that they get compensation, and also get treatment for their problems in the hospital of their choice at the cost of the government. This is, I request Nilesh Ojha sir to do this, because he has been fighting for the cause. Even here, the case which he has filed for 1,000 crores, the public prosecutor says that the government is not responsible, the vaccine company is responsible. That is the hilarious thing. When the government propagates it, let the company propagate it then. Why does the government propagate it? They have to be equally responsible. We need to make them, hold them accountable, and we need to ensure that everybody who has suffered the complication or a death in his family gets the compensation through a legal fight. So we have identified few advocates in Bangalore who are fighting for the cause, and definitely in future, any policy making, be it related to health or any other thing, there should be public participation, including the citizen, including all level of government and private people in the system, be the healthcare workers, before the policy is made and before it is implemented. So such sort of a decentralized governance should become the norm, and therefore, and we need to be thinking about the biological battle, the depopulation agenda, the supremacy psychosis, wherein these things are implemented, and also the ongoing third world war of weather warfare, the floods, the famine, and the food fights which are being planned, the layoff slavery by the elite few to own the world through their mechanization, and they are planning a great reset and a new slave world order. And we need to fight against this. Let us ensure we fight with a great, and I just finished,
Yes.
with the eternal survival movement and a great resurrection of the truthful word, with equality, justice, opportunity for all the aborigines to be. So definitely, this is what is my perspective and my this thing, and I have gone through this because I'm a MBBS, MS, and MCH neurosurgeon from PGI Chandigarh, and this is as a clinician what my observation is. And if I have started this so-called the truthful movement to ensure that we all need to be truthful to the core, and we need to ensure that we follow the dharma of filing the AP reports. Otherwise, any doctor who doesn't file a AP report, who gives lame reasons that he doesn't have time and he doesn't have the energy or the form, he's actually will suffer the karma of it. So let us ensure that we all fight against it together in a big way for to ensure that there is a truthful world, the truthful health policies, and the healthy living of everybody. Thank you. Let us create the heaven and earth, and let us be Vishwamanava and create a truthful world. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Banu Prakash. We move on to Dr. Amar Singh Azad. He has done his MBBS and MD in pediatrics. He is also having MD in community medicine. He is a retired senior medical officer from Patiala. Yes, so Dr. Amar Singh Azad, please, can you unmute yourself?
जी बहुत ही जो एनालिस्ट ने जो डिस्कशन की, बाय एंड लार्ज मेरा फुल एग्रीमेंट है, और मैंने डे टू डे प्रैक्टिस में काफ़ी पेशेंट्स ऐसे आ रहे हैं जो जिनमें क्लियरली डाउट क्रिएट होता है कि ये कोविड का कैसे जुड़े हुए हैं, तो वो काफ़ी अच्छे तरह से एलेबरेट हो गया। मैं थोड़ी सी MBBS का MD पीडियाट्रिक्स किया और MD पीडियाट्रिक्स का करियर चुके। मैंने कम्युनिटी मेडिसिन ऑप्ट किया क्योंकि मुझे वो जो क्रेज थी कि जिसके कोर पे जाना है जी, उसका रूट कॉज क्या है, तो पूरी क्रेज को बाद में 50 साल में मैंने जो प्रैक्टिस में किया, और बाद में एक एक्टिविस्ट के तौर पे भी मैंने काफ़ी कुछ किया कि जो कुछ समझ आता तो लोगों का शेयर करना है। तो ये पूरे का जो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस रहा, और आज मैं अभी करंटली आई एम बेसिकली होलिस्टिक हेल्थ केयर प्रैक्टिशनर, और उस हिसाब से काफ़ी कुछ मैंने सीखा पिछले 50 सालों में। तो उसका थोड़ा सा जो बुलेट पॉइंट है मैं आपके साथ शेयर करूँगा। एक एपिडेमियोलॉजिस्ट व्यू पॉइंट क्या होना चाहिए और क्या जो मुझे समझ आया। बेसिकली वैक्सीन के बारे में 4 सवाल पूछने चाहिए कि क्या इसकी ज़रूरत है, पहले तो क्या इस बीमारी के लिए वैक्सीन की ज़रूरत है। नंबर 2 कि क्या वैक्सीन बनना पॉसिबल है। नंबर 3 के वैक्सीन क्या इफेक्टिव हो सकता है, और चौथा कि वैक्सीन सेफ हो सकता है। पहली फर्स्ट थिंग इज कि देयर इज नो नीड ऑफ एनी वैक्सीन अगेंस्ट फ्लू वायरसेस। क्यों कहता हूँ, क्योंकि फ्लू वायरसेस की जो अपनी इम्यूनिटी क्रिएट करने की जो परसेंटेज है दैट्स वेरी वेरी हाई। ब्रॉडली अगर बात करें तो अगर 100 व्यक्तियों के अंदर वायरस जा रही है तो 80 में बिना सिम्टम प्रोड्यूस किए वो वायरस आपको इम्यून कर सकती है। अबाउट 18 में वो माइल्ड एंड मॉडरेट सिम्टम करके आपको इम्यून करती है। दैट मीन्स 98% में वायरस इटसेल्फ गिव्स यू ए वेरी गुड immunity, that is a very good vaccine in itself. तो जिस बीमारी में 98% वायरस जो जिसको हम जिसके साथ लड़ना चाहते हैं वो खुद ही आपको इम्यून कर रही है, बाकी रह गए 2%। 2% भी वैक्सीन ऐसा नहीं है जो इसके ऊपर इम्यूनिटी देता हो। तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोविड के खिलाफ वैक्सीनेशन की नीड है कोई। नंबर 2 पे पॉसिबल है वैक्सीन कोविड जो फ्लू वायरसेस हैं, इन्फ्लुएंजा नंबर इनका बहुत ज़्यादा है। नंबर 2 पे इनकी जो मल्टीप्लिकेशन है वो बहुत क्विक होती है और इनका म्यूटेशन रेट इज वेरी वेरी हाई। इट्स नेचुरल आल्सो, क्योंकि हर होस्ट में उसने उसका डीएनए यूज करना है। जब वो हर होस्ट में उसका डीएनए यूज करेगी तो उसका म्यूटेशन इज वेरी नेचुरल। अगर वो म्यूटेट ना करे तो देन इट्स नेचुरल। तो म्यूटेशन इज वेरी क्विक and very natural. So by the time we are able to track the virus and classify it, virus has already mutated. So it's not possible to make any vaccine against flu virus. दूसरी बात, इफेक्टिव वैक्सीन तो उसका हो नहीं सकता कि म्यूटेशन हो जाएगी। तो सेफ प्रोसेस ऑफ मेकिंग वैक्सीनेशन है, और पर्टिकुलरली जो रिसेंट वैक्सीनेशन आया जो जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड है, उसके लिए तो मेरी जो एपिडेमियोलॉजी की साइंस है वो पहले से ये कह रही थी कि ये वैक्सीन आप जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड वैक्सीन दोगे तो अब यू आर ट्राइंग टू पेनिट्रेट द जीन्स, यू आर ट्राइंग टू इंड्यूस द बॉडी टू प्रोड्यूस आर्टिफिशियल प्रोटीन्स एंड दैट विल प्ले ए हैवक। वो जो एक्सपेक्टेड ही है, लग रहा है मुझे कि ये जो कॉम्प्लिकेशंस होनी और अभी लॉन्ग टर्म कॉम्प्लिकेशन से भी शायद बहुत ज्यादा होंगी, क्योंकि ये नेक्स्ट जनरेशन में भी आ सकती हैं, नॉट ओनली इन दिस जनरेशन, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन में भी आ सकती है। तो ये पूरे का पूरा एक। तो दूसरी बात जो मैं कहना चाहता हूँ, जो पिछले 2-2.5 साल में हो रहा है, तो पूरे का पूरा इसमें कोई जो भी इन लोगों ने किया है उसकी एक भी एक्टिविटी साइंटिफिक पैरामीटर पे ट्रूथफुल नहीं है, सारे का सारा झूठ और फ्रॉड है। दो एग्जांपल लेते हैं, लीजिए हम कहें कि माइक्रोब की अंडरस्टैंडिंग जो आउटडेटेड है, माइक्रोब की अंडरस्टैंडिंग जिस माइक्रोब की अंडरस्टैंडिंग पे ये वैक्सीनेशन और एंटीबायोटिक और एंटीवायरल ड्रग्स दी जा रही हैं, ये माइक्रोब की अंडरस्टैंडिंग बहुत पुरानी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है। आज माइक्रोब की अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या है कि माइक्रोब आर नॉट अवर फोज, दे आर अवर फ्रेंड्स। वायरसेस आर नॉट अवर फोज, दे आर अवर फ्रेंड्स, एंड फ्रेंड्स वेरी डीपली they even help to adapt our genes and repair our genes. So ये जो they're the very foundation of life. Microbes are the viruses and viruses are the very foundation of life, the very basis of the pyramid life. तो इनके बारे में ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग बनाने के ये दुश्मन है या ये ऐसा कुछ इनको मारना है, इनके का ये पूरी का पूरा समझ ही गलत है। Rather they are ब्रह्मा विष्णु एंड महेश ऑफ होल ऑफ लाइफ। वो हमारे क्रिएटर भी हैं, हमारे पालक भी हैं, और जो शिव का रोल है उसमें कहीं ना कहीं बीमारी है, क्योंकि शिव का रोल भी उन्हीं को दिया नेचर ने। और वायरस इन माइक्रोब ने, जब कोई भी जीव मर जाएगा तो उनको बैक टू 5 बेसिक पानी मिट्टी हवा में वापस लेके जाना, वो भी इन्हीं का काम है। तो वो इनको जो मैसेज मिलता है जब वो वीक हो जाता है व्यक्ति, ये अभी ये वीक हो रहा था, अभी इसका शिव का जरूरत है, दैट इज द डिजीज। ये जो कोमॉर्बिडिटी की बात कर रहा हूँ, जितने लोग कोरोना से मरे वो कोमॉर्बिडिटी पहले थी, दैट मींस वो पहले से सिक थे, बाद में मरे, नॉट दैट दे डाइड ऑफ द कोविड, दे वर ऑलरेडी सिक, दे वर ऑलरेडी वीक बायोलॉजिकली, फिजियोलॉजिकली एंड इम्यूनिटी वाइज दे वर वीक, सो they were the victims. So that's one thing. एक और एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं, टाइम बहुत शॉर्ट है। तो ये जो स्प्रेड का मसला है, देखिए कितना बोलते हैं ये लोग। हम एपिडेमियोलॉजी में टीच करते हैं बीबीएस के स्टूडेंट्स को, ये 3 तरीके से फैलती है। वन इज एरोसोल स्प्रेड, 2 इज ड्रॉपलेट स्प्रेड, एंड 3rd इज फोमाइट्स। फोमाइट्स मींस पेशेंट ने किसी चीज को जिसने यूज किया, पेशेंट ने उसको हमने टच किया तो वो इनडायरेक्टली होगी, बाद में इन्होंने खुद ही कह दिया ये टच से नहीं फैलती, ये खुद ही मुकर गए। पहले इन लोगों ने हल्ला गुल्ला किया, बाद में मुकर गए कि नहीं टच से नहीं होती। रह गया बिग ड्रॉपलेट जो 2-3-4 फुट के तक ट्रेवल करते हैं, उसके बाद वो फॉल कर जाते हैं। बिग ड्रॉपलेट इज आल्सो प्लेज अ वेरी माइनर रोल इन द स्प्रेड ऑफ वायरल इन्फेक्शन। मेजर मोड ऑफ स्प्रेड इज एरोसोल, जो सर्दियों में हमको दिखता है। सर्दी में हम जब ब्रीथ आउट करते हैं तो जो एरोसोल दिखता है, दैट मींस वो जो बैक्टीरिया एंड वायरसेस हमारे एरोसोल में हैं, हमारे ब्रेथ में, वो दे बिकम पार्ट ऑफ जनरल एयर, वो हवा का पार्ट हो चुके हैं, एंड then shared with other people, so-called infection. So the moment we are sitting in a bus or in a room or in a railway or in a airport, that the very moment we share the virus, the whole of the group shares the virus. So it's very natural because aerosol is a major mode. मास्क कैसे आपको एरोसोल से बचा लेगी? जब वो वायरस हवा में आ गई तो उसके बाद वो इफेक्ट कर रही है, तो आपको बचा नहीं सकती। ना आपको सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग बचा सकती है, ना आपको लॉकआउट बचा सकता है, ना आपको रेलगाड़ी बंद करना बचा सकती है, हवाई जहाज बंद करना या स्कूल बंद करने या कॉलेज बंद करने, कुछ भी आपको बचा नहीं सकता। तो ये सारे का सारा फ्रॉड जो है, ये टोटल का टोटल अनसाइंटिफिक फ्रॉड है। ये मुझे लगता है कि I've taken enough time. तो ये यहाँ पे मैं सिर्फ ये बता दूं, ये थोड़ा सा क्लियर कर दूं कि क्या ये बेवकूफ है, इनको नहीं समझ आ रही, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. They think they are very wise and they can befool the humanity. इनका एजेंडा कुछ और है. They also know all these things, क्योंकि जो एपिडेमियोलॉजी है वो तो ये भी वही पढ़ते हैं, उनके पास भी बहुत बड़े बड़े एपिडेमियोलॉजिस्ट हैं, इनको भी सब समझ है कि ये चीजें जो हैं ये हम झूठ बोल रहे हैं, फ्रॉड कर रहे हैं, लेकिन they are trying to befool the humanity and they have successfully befooled the humanity and almost whole of the humanity has taken vaccinations. उसके जो कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस होंगे वो आ रहे हैं सामने और आएंगे. तो मुझे लगता है कि ये हम सबको अभी प्रिपेयर रहना चाहिए और आगे नुकसान ना हो उसके लिए हमको सब डॉक्टर्स को इकट्ठे होकर के एक ऐसी मूवमेंट और ऐसी अवेयरनेस देनी चाहिए कि और नुकसान ना हो कम से कम, और जो भी ग्रुप करेगा मैं फुल्ली उसके साथ.
Yes, thank you, sir. Next, we move on to Dr. Abhay Chheda. He has done his BHMS, CCAH, FCAH. He is a senior consulting homeopath and counselor with 25 years plus experience from Mumbai. So, yes, Dr. Abhay Chheda, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Gayatri. I fully rhyme with Dr. Amar Singh Azad, and to go by what he said, that first of all, there is actually no need for a mass vaccination, as COVID has a huge best cure rate, and compared to the number of people affected, the death rate is very, very low. So it's not a case of mass vaccination at all, but it is a political decision or a decision from a commercial group, and people have been just fooled about it. Let's tell it plain as it is. My topic is, let's examine the whole thing. I would like my screen be shared. I have a PPT to show.
Rushil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my topic is, what are the ingredients in this vaccine, COVID-19 vaccines? Now, one of the big issue with vaccinations or vaccines is that on the pack insert or package or insert, there is no full detail of the ingredients. Only a few of them have been declared. I was studying the whole subject and I came across the statement. Yeah, please next. Yeah, as per the World Trade Organization, about 9,000 different materials are required for a vaccine manufacturing company to make a vaccine. Now, I was shocked to know this number 9,000. I thought, am I reading it properly? Is it 9,000 or it's 900 or it's 90 or even 9? Even 9 chemicals inside the vaccine could be catastrophic. As you see the kind of things they are there. And the world blindly takes them. No judges even order them to be revealed. Pediatricians also give them blindly without knowing the full content of the product. And it's a mockery of the common sense. So let's see what sort of content it is. Next slide, please. Yeah. So it is about at least 26 contents I could locate for vaccines in general. And all vaccines have aluminium in common. And also thimerosal, that is a mercury compound in common. So let's go to the next slide. Yeah. Now can you see what sort of things additionally it has got? The acetone, antibiotics, formaldehyde or formalin, MSG, when monosodium glutamate, that's Ajinomoto, aborted fetal cells, cells and blood from animals, fetal bovine serum. Next slide. Now, just imagine if I inject an apple with thimerosal, mercury compound, aluminium, fetal bovine serum, a very cruel product, graphene oxide, EDTA, beta propiolactone, polysorbate 80 and 20, 2-phenoxyethanol, TMB, that is tetramethyl benzodine, ethanol, that is ethyl alcohol, tris, aminomethane, phenol, acetone, millions of bioengineered viruses, bacteria, about baby cell tissues, and human DNA. Would you eat it? Would you eat such an apple? If not, then how is it safe to inject such a cocktail into babies? On adults, of course, even it is not acceptable to adults, but in babies, absolutely it's a heinous crime. Next slide, please. So just imagine this cocktail of chemicals is directly pushed into your bloodstream, bypassing all these safety layers of the body, and what catastrophe it can create. And as we are witnessing, it is already creating. Next. Now, vaccine ingredients are classified as antigens, adjuvants, stabilizers, preservatives, and manufacturing byproducts. Now, antigens were logically the group of ingredients which are immunogenic, but then to preserve the whole content, they would use preservatives, stabilizers, adjuvants, and so many things. Now, these preservatives, for example, thimerosal itself is so toxic. While it preserves the chemical cocktail, it harms the person. Now, so this is against the original idea of vaccination. What is being touted today as by the name of vaccine is absolutely not the original product, which was glorified in school textbooks or which has created a good image in the mind of people. What product is being sold today under the name of vaccine is a completely a wrong product, which is just encashing on the name of vaccine of pulling people in mass all over the world by the name of the world vaccine. Next. So let's scroll quickly about the kind of things which are there in the vaccine. Formalin is a highly toxic systemic poison, carcinogen linked to leukemia in brain, brain, colon, and lymphatic cancers. Now, this formalin or formaldehyde is the one which is used to preserve the dead body or dead material. So outside it is okay, but when it goes inside the bloodstream, it can be very dangerous. Next. Now, beta propiolactone, it is there in vaccine. It's known to cause cancer. It is suspected gastrointestinal, liver, and respiratory, skin, and sense organ poison. Next. Next, please. It's a hexadecyl trimethyl ammonium bromide. Again, a liver toxic, cardiovascular toxic, and CNS toxic. It may also have reproductive effects and birth defects. Next. Now, aluminium compound, which is neurotoxin, it can cross blood-brain barrier, suspected in Alzheimer's, dementia, seizures, comas. It confuses the identity of a person, a very basic for the right decision making. And it is there in all COVID vaccines in general and almost all other vaccines as well. Next. We have removed all the aluminium vessels from our cooking range. Even we do not want to have aluminium foil to keep our food heated up hot, but same aluminium is being pushed directly into the bloodstream. Now, once it is inside the bloodstream in a nano quantity, also it can be catastrophic. Now, same about mercury. Mercury is neurotoxin and associated with again Alzheimer's, dementia, and of course autism. We see lots of ADHD autism cases nowadays, and this mercury compound, thimerosal, is suspected. Many pediatricians even do not know that this has been used in their vaccine, so-called vaccine, which they are pushing into the children's blood. Next. Now this polysorbate 80 and 20. Now this is polysorbate 80 is there in Covishield, and it is known anaphylactic shock-causing agent and death due to that. It also produces reproductive toxicity apart from developmental toxicity. So one of the agenda of the New World Order is population reduction, and this particular substance rhymes well with that agenda. Next.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. There are a few questions coming up from press, so maybe we can just finish it off quickly.
Okay. Okay. So next, PEG. Next. Next. Yeah, I'll just show whatever relevant I will talk. Okay. Next. Next. Fetal bovine serum is there in Covaxin, and India, you know, respect reverse cows, but it is being brutally killed for this particular serum, and it is being introduced in people's blood. Next. 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 Yeah. Next. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Next. Graphene oxide. This particular product is being of late heard quite often, and it's being there in the Covishield. It's there in AstraZeneca, and so is there in Covishield, and it produces RBC clotting, that is a Roulet formation. Next slide. And this is one of the main reasons for sudden adult death syndrome or SADS, where there is no chance for the person to go to the hospital, get resuscitated or whatever. On the spot, the person is dead. A number of videos we are seeing nowadays, this particular product is suspected. No judges have ordered the whole of the product of the vaccine to be revealed, and that's one of the mockery of the whole common sense and whole civilization. Next. Next. These are the kind of trends seen in the microscope, graphene particles. Next. Again, ethanol in Covaxin. Next. Next. So, Covaxin at Covishield, and even next year. EDTA is there in Covishield, and it's a radioactive material. EDTA outside to keep blood unclotted is okay, but when it goes inside the human being in vivo, it can be catastrophic. And as we can see that it reduces calcium, magnesium, and thereby increases the potential of diseases. Next. This twist is there in Corbevax, which was introduced for children, and it also inhibits number of enzymes. And imagine if this is done in children, it can cause diseases of with some ideas for diseases. Next. Next. Yeah. So this number of ingredients and kind of toxic ingredients should open eyes of everyone, and once and for all say no to this COVID vaccines. That's what I had to say. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Abhay Cheda. Actually, there are a lot of questions coming out from press. People are here, so I think we will move on to them. I request them to please come forward and ask their queries. I think Madhu Kishwar is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First and foremost, my sincere gratitude to all of you for getting together and making this powerful statement together. I think that makes a lot of difference. I hope this is just the start of a consistent campaign to expose the biggest scam of human history. It's not just 21st century scam. I don't think anything comparable has ever been done to the entire humanity in one go. So it really needs very concerted efforts, and I know how strongly the government is coming down again to silence the voices, not just in India, but even globally. People have suffered a lot. And I, too, since I have been campaigning against it from day one. And in fact, I did several programs, and I'm requesting those of you who would like to be interviewed by me on our channel to please write to me. My phone number and my email address I will type here. I would like to do a series of interviews with all of you. And in many of my programs on this vaccine, I actually addressed the Prime Minister directly because he acted as the brand ambassador of these vaccines and pretended as if he was doing one of the greatest services to humanity. And I told him that even if you put a gun to my head, I will not allow you to vaccinate me. I prefer to be shot dead, but I will not allow you to put this poison into my body. Throughout these years of vaccine scare and COVID scare, I did not wear a mask. I did not observe any one of the precautions, which is not letting people in, not doing that. We did everything normal. In my house, people were free to come in, including, the maids from neighboring houses who were not being allowed in their homes to, say, use a bathroom or something. I allowed everybody in. Now, the point that I'm trying to make is this. There are two issues here, and I urge your attention to both of them. One is the manner in which the Indian Medical Association went after Patanjali simply because they claimed that Coronel works. And it's a fact, it works. I have treated many people when they got virus with just Coronel, and I told them not to go test themselves. Whenever I got fever, I did exactly that, and it works. The point is, many of you have very ably stated that the only thing that cures people is strong immunity. There's no medicine for any medicine practically. It's only how you strengthen a person's immunity. And Ayurveda has that. Now, the point is, IMA filed 1,000 or 1,500 criminal cases against Patanjali in order to render them ineffective, and then many Ayurveds have been silenced. Their clinics were raided, shut down, especially in the south. My request to you is that you need to also issue a statement against this very criminal act by IMA chief in criminalizing Ayurveda. I think it is a very big offense, a crime against us people in India, that we should prevent people from taking cures that work and be forced to take cures that are lethal and can result in very severe health problems and even deaths. I have seen many people dying prematurely. One of my relatives lost his eyesight. I know many such cases. But even before such cases started coming, I've been campaigning against this vaccine and lockdown from day one. I urge you also, since you are a very impressive team of doctors from all over India, I think together, if you were to file a PIL in the Supreme Court, raising all these concerns and demanding all that you demanded in your petition, I think it'll have an impact. It needs that collective action. They silence individuals, but I don't think if 30 of some of the best professionals, health professionals, go to Supreme Court, and all of you made very able points. I'm truly grateful to you, very thankful to you, and I would like to do all I can in my modest, humble capacity to be of help in spreading awareness about your campaign. Please use our platform to come and talk about it. Each one of you, I was just watching the presentation that had to be hurried through Dr. Cheda's. Dr. Cheda, I invite you to talk with the entire presentation. Take a whole hour. Similarly, Dr. Azad, so many of you talked brilliantly. Each one of you, we can do a whole series. And, you never know when the critical mass gathers together around you and your initiative, and the government is made answerable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. We move on to Azhar Sheikh. He has something to ask. Can you please unmute?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank you, each and everyone in Team Awaken India, and all the doctors who are doing the great work. They have dedicated their really immense time and all their dedication and the courage. I praise them for everything. I have particularly two questions. I have a lot of questions, but particularly two I want to ask. The first question is to the people who took one shot of whatever the company, Covishield or anything, who took one shot, are they vulnerable for the death in like short time or longer time? And if they are not or whatever, are there any precautions they should be taking in living their life to avoid any damage to their health? This is the first question. And the second question I want to ask is there any possibility that people can reverse the effects of vaccines, no matter they have taken one shot or two shot, but can there be any, not the cure exactly, but is there any particular medicine or something they can, any remedy they can reverse the effects of vaccines? Thank you very much.
Yes, maybe Dr. Amitabh Banerjee might like to answer this, or even Dr. Praveen Saxena. Dr. Banu Prakash is are ready to answer it. Yes, sir. Please unmute your.
We require data. As far as I know, we require data. I think it is beyond my ear because government has been, or the authorities have been not very clear with data. So we don't know the effect of first shot or two shots of booster, and without a control group we cannot establish. But of course, they are in holistic medicine. There are people. I think some of them can answer this.
Okay, I would say the number of shots doesn't matter. It's what's in the shot, because the initial shots they gave for the doctors, for the public servants, and also the trial shots for the elderly with payment, they were all probably maybe diluted contents or maybe innocuous contents. But what they gave later to the poor people as a mass vaccination drive freely, they caused the deaths, many measures, and they created the wave. So probably if somebody has taken those shots, probably the single shot might affect them. If somebody has taken diluted or placebo shot, then probably they might not get affected. But whatever are the symptoms, I would say the most important thing is, first, we should be truthful. Truth is the greatest healer in us. So that is, we should change our thoughts and we should change our food. So the food we eat should be organic, should be raw food, preferably forest food. Eat plenty of water, drink plenty of water, tender coconut, raw vegetables, buttermilk, and so such sort of a change in our lifestyle, and being truthful ourselves and thinking the truth, speaking the truth, and doing the truth is a great change in the human psychology and the interconnected chakras, because the subconscious mind with its lies, we connected to the chakras, can create whatever havoc in our health system. So let us inculcate that sense of truth and let us be truthful. And then comes the Ashtanga Yoga principles of life, and then comes the diet, and then comes the treatment part of it, be it traditional medicine, naturopathy, or Ayurveda, or homeopathy, or then comes allopathy. In allopathy, as an allopath, I would say the first simplest drug would be Ecosprin, which is just 4 rupees for 14 tablets, which will prevent unnecessary blood clots in our body. The second most important thing is vitamin D supplements, but naturally basking in the sun, like the men can remove their shirt, they should lie down on the terrace, half an hour to their tummy, half an hour to their back, till they sweat, till they tan, and then till they feel the prickly heat of the sun. So that is how we can get the natural vitamin D, and good amount of diet with lot of fruits and vegetables, or some supplements like magnesium, then acetylcysteine, which is a good antioxidant, then B complex vitamins, and a good amount of sleep, because sleep is a great rejuvenator. So if you are not getting good sleep, take a pill, something like maybe a tryptomer, which is a very cost-effective drug, which also improves the depression and also the stress which is prevalent in the society. So this is the protocol which I follow for most of the patients. And if somebody has significant symptoms, I put them on stronger anticoagulants like dabigatran or even clopidogrel, and maybe acetron. So this is how we escalate, because I have seen so many clotting patients. We give inside the hospital. We give vitamins. Sorry, I forgot to mention zinc and vitamin C as tablets, and we even give infusions of zinc and vitamin C and heparin, and that have worked wonders. A patient who came with nearly 50-60% of carotid blockage is now living very much happily after 3 days of injection. So this is how we need to treat them, and definitely it all starts with our mind and our thoughts. So be truthful.
Okay, thank you, sir. Maybe we can go to somebody else. Praveen Saxena, sir, you wanted to say something? Dr. Praveen? Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, sir.
I think, Azhar, you have raised a very pertinent question, and it is definitely the kind of thing which has, for normally people who are listening this for the first time, they are really scared of that. I can always tell you, the people who has taken one shot, the probability of getting problems, into problems, is rare. After 2 shots, yes, there are probabilities, but what we have seen is this incessant taking boosters is a big issue. Of all said and done, Bhanu Prakash ji has given all the answers and all that. Would like to add few things which normal person, if he is asymptomatic, he is not having any problems, he is having just simple kind of stuff like weakness and all that. He may be having some brain fog and all that. What he can always go for is a simple vitamin C. If he can go for drips or he can go for the tablets, that is fine. The other thing which you have to inculcate is trying to create a proper biosis. We call it as a microbiome. You have got your internal intestines, which is the best thing for your immune system. Your immune system is dependent on your intestinal bacteria, and always we keep telling about taking probiotics and all that. And at the same time, a simple thing what we started talking about, not to take any sugar. Don't you add something like probiotics in your kind of thing. And the thing what he has said very clearly is taking sleep. Sleep is you have got something like melatonin gets released, and this melatonin we gave in therapeutic doses for patients and people who are having high levels of CRP, having on the edge, they have high D-dimers and all that. Proteolytic enzymes, which can be simple thing, which I tell people to take the pineapple stem, cut the pineapple, don't take the central stem and eat it. It has got wonderful proteolytic enzymes. It creates a big kind of buffer, and you're not going to get into any kind of problems. Simple thing. Aspirin and all that, yes, definitely, but people can always, when they have chances of clots and all that, if you have taken second or third vaccine, I would like you to have every month one test called complete blood picture, something like CRP, and just keep updated on yourself. At least go for at least once in 3 months' time, because what happens is the problem happens after 6 months. Sometimes it slowly brews up and hides. Your spike protein inside in your body, the manufacturing capacity of spike protein depends on your buffers. If your buffers are not good, your glutathione levels are not good, you have got the kind of some simple things. Your lymphocytes are high. and your macrophages are low, then you are probably getting into problems. It's very simple test, not to worry about that, and trying to work on some nutritional, cut off sugar, start taking, stop refined oils. One thing, cut off sugar, second, refined oils, and we give this mantra to every patient, not just who is having a COVID or something like that. We talk to this particular thing. You reduce the inflammatory substances in your body. You don't stock kerosene and petrol in your kitchen. When you don't stock it, there are less likelihood chances of getting into a kind of this one, Visha. So that's why you people, everyone, I suggest everyone, where we are talking about Ayurveda, everywhere, you need to work on your these things, nutritional things, trying to speed up your metabolism. Here, the metabolism, speed up your metabolism, and trying to work with this immune modulation, which is thoroughly skewed up because of these vaccines and all that. So you need to work on this. Take the help of.
Sorry, sir, I need to interrupt you here because there is Dr. Amar Singh also who wants to speak. Yes, Dr. Amar Singh.
मैं जस्ट दो तीन चीजें ऐड करना चाहता हूँ. ब्लड थिनर और के लिए 5 चीजें हम लोग रिकमेंड कर रहे हैं. हमारा होलिस्टिक प्रोटोकॉल है. We have developed a wonderful holistic protocol which can reverse almost all diseases, including autoimmune disorders and type 1 diabetes, or even if they are induced by the COVID vaccine. So the 5 blood thinners we are recommending is lasan and cloves, haldi, adrak, or this one is tomatoes. So there are 5 very good blood thinners which have been proved to be excellent blood thinners. Lasan is a very good blood thinner. Then there are millets. Millets are wonderful grains. We should add millets to our diets, and particularly the fermented millets for strengthening our microbiome, gut flora. Ambali is called in South. We call it khameer in North. So that's wonderful. These are some of the very highly efficacious things which we have added to our holistic protocol.
Okay, thank you, sir. We move on next to Nadeem Siraj. He has some questions. Nadeem Siraj.
Hello. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. This is Nadeem from Empire Diaries. So I have a couple of questions. One is for Advocate Ojha. So, but my question to him is, what is the legal future of this powerful manifesto? Can the movement in India and abroad that is working together take this manifesto forward and challenge the whole narrative itself and the WHO in higher courts outside, like ICJ or ICC or any other system? How powerful is it legally? That is my question to Mr. Ojha. And I have a question for the organizers as well. After that, could you just tell us in details the background of the manifesto, how it originated, doctors from which countries came together and did it, and some details about the manifesto itself? Thanks.
Yes, Nadeem, we will do the manifesto reading and all the details about it again once questions are over. And I think Nilesh Ojha sir has already left. I'm not sure. Rushil, can you confirm on it?
Yes, he has left. We'll take his question and try to get a response from him and communicate this.
Yes.
Okay, good. Regarding the manifesto, actually, I read the manifesto. Thing is, we need some background on how it originated, which doctors have been involved in it, which are the associations also that have worked together to come up with it. Some details on that.
Okay, so Rushil, can you take this question up?
Yeah, sure. So this was first originated by a group called Doctors for Truth in Spain. The main coordinator for this group is Dr. Natalia Prego. She is the one who's made the first draft of this manifesto. And along with her, other groups came along, including World Council for Health, America's Frontline Doctors. There are groups in Canada, Australia. And then slowly, we also got introduced to them, and we also participated. Finally, we have about 34 countries who are participating in this manifesto and who are conducting some event today to release it. We will be sharing the press release. Will have more of this information. So right after the conference, we will also be sharing the press release, which will give you a little more insight into how it all began.
Yes, thanks, Rushil. Maybe next we can go on to Barnali Bhattacharya. Yes.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, good afternoon to everybody, and thanks to the panelists and the organizers for this wonderful initiative. So I have only one question that to the doctors, that how much, what is the minimum number of evidences or cases that after that we can state that firmly that these vaccines are lethal, and we can give a statement firmly that yes, it is something very harmful to the human race. When we know that Dr. Malone and other scientists and the doctors have already have published their statements stating directly that these vaccines are especially very much harmful for our children. So can't we take all these statements from all these doctors and scientists as our evidence and base point to fight for our cases?
Yes, you can surely do that. Maybe your first question, maybe Dr. Pravin Saxena might like to answer about the toxic effects, maybe on the patients.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Dr. Pravin Saxena, will you like to answer this? Unmute yourself.
I think your questions had this one. What we need to check in the past. I was in my talk, I was talking about respiratory syncytial virus. And in that, out of 35 kids, 2 kids died during the, before starting that. And there were no animal studies were done in that particular stuff. After the death of 2 kids, this vaccine was withdrawn. And when you look back into the history of vaccines, anything above 15 or 20 deaths is a big number. And we are really surprised why this thing has not yet been done, because overall the kind of mortality which has been projected from all the corners is more than 70 plus thousand. It's not a simple number. I think this is the reason we had came across, and we wanted all of the stakeholders, even the public has to get involved into this movement. And anything else you'd like to you have to just prove 2 cases or something like that, then you can always take off this thing. Still, it is an unproven vaccine.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think Daryl D'Souza wants to ask something. Please unmute yourself. Daryl D'Souza.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and so delighted for the wonderful insights and evidences that are being presented by all our very experienced doctors. So I am from Earthkeepers Connect, and we host India's first integrated summit on solutions to our problems on health, food, farming, and environment. And this year, we are going into the 4th edition of the New Earth Summit in November. So because we have to take up all these issues in the summit as we did last year also. My 2 questions are: the first is, not mandating, WHO and CDC not mandating the AEFI system, and also not mandating informed consent. So we have lost a lot of time because people, after they got the vaccine injuries, there was no proper system in place to report the vaccine injury. Now, my question is there any move in India by the doctors or through a petition to do something like, now the government of India has the Aadhaar card details of all the people who have taken the vaccine. So can a petition be made for the government to the government officers to get back to all those people in India, whether they've taken the first dose, the second dose, or the booster, whatever, that to get in touch with them and to get their current health details, because that would make up for all the AEFI data that is lost and not reported. So I think that forms the real basis of whether it will show the real harm of what's been done.
Daryl, right now you're not able to hear you.
Sorry?
Yeah, now you're audible.
Okay, I was not audible till now.
No,
Recording
just few seconds.
stopped.
Should I repeat?
No, it's fine now.
Okay, so my first question is that, is there any petition going to be made to the government of India that will ask them to bring forth the current health status of all the people in India who have taken the vaccine, because the government has their details? That's the first question. The second is that, especially because there are a growing number of children who are having vaccine injuries and dying after vaccination, is there any tests or records being kept as to these children, whether they had taken the vaccine, and if they had not taken the vaccine, another two indicators. One is, are they living in a space where 5G testing has been done? Because we have noticed that over the last 6 months or 9 months or even a year, there have been bouts where
Recording in progress.
the people were experiencing excessive thirst for 5 to 7 days, and of course we know that excessive thirst can cause even cardiac problems. So the thing is, is there any effort to check this as well? That is, have those children been staying in such areas? And the third question is, what is increasingly coming in the media now about the HARP installations in different countries across the world, which are designed for weather manipulation. And it is a common knowledge now that governments have installed this to manipulate weather across their countries for their benefit. But the details have also come out that these fields, they cause a lot of damage. They can cause radiational damage to the human body as well. Nevertheless, even by just changing the weather erratically, that is also going to give people a lot of sick.
Sorry to interrupt you, but let's keep it up to vaccines and its effects. If any questions, there are some more people who want to ask. Is Saraswati Kuala? She wanted to ask something. Do we have Saraswati Kuala? You may unmute yourself.
He's not there now. We can take the next question.
Okay, maybe Dr. Susan Raj to ask something. Dr. Susan?
Hello, everyone.
Dr. Susan, you may unmute yourself.
Yeah, I did. I unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that many people were asking about the detox question. That yes, detox for vaccination is available. CDS and the MSO with the Guru Chela Akela is detoxing from 21 days to within 6 months time. Take the test before and take the test after, and you can prove it. Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else wants to ask? Nadeem Siraj has raised his hand.
Yeah, hi. I had a question also for the doctors. This is like during the course of the pandemic, we saw that the concept of control group that has been in the debate a lot. That a lot of doctors said that no control group has been kept. So either it could have been inadvertent or it could have been deliberate also. So throughout the phase of the restrictions and the vaccination campaign, we saw that in some of the countries there were no lockdowns at all, like in Sweden and some several other countries. Then we saw across Africa also the push for vaccination was much slower than in any other parts of the world. So my question to Dr. Banerjee, Dr. Kushwa, and the others is that is it possible that the whole the pharma cartel, the way it operates with the WHO, that they could have been experimenting also with the control group strategies while they were rolling out their whole policies about handling the pandemic?
Dr. Amitav Banerjee, would you like to answer this?
That is something which was very surprising, that no control group, as you said, pushing for mass vaccination. And of course, there have been some natural experiments like lockdown. Sweden did not have lockdown, and their rates are lower than other European countries. And similarly, African countries are less vaccinated, and they are having lower rates of deaths. But there are other geographical and ethnic differences. So these are very, very crude estimates, or they can be other fallacies. The most robust scientific evidence would have been control groups in all countries. And we had a very good opportunity which we lost because 80% of our population had natural infection. They should not have been vaccinated. It goes against all science, going for an unknown vaccine and ignoring a very known evidence of natural immunity. So we lost that opportunity. It appears deliberate because perhaps I think the natural infection runs faster than vaccination rollout. So they knew they will not be able to catch up with natural infection. So they underplayed natural infection to appears to promote the vaccine. There can be no scientific reason. It appears to be commercial reason only.
Okay, sir. Here I would like to ask you only. Ideally, like how is clinical trial conducted, or maybe what are the rules regarding it? Because what the concern is, considering the official number of deaths that took place due to vaccination, they are just over 1,000. But while 94 crore people have been vaccinated till now in India, that is the data. So, like, what are your views regarding this?
Clinical trials have been done on much smaller samples, and the endpoints were not hospitalization and deaths. Though they claim that vaccine reduces hospitalization and deaths, the trials were firstly on young adults, mostly healthy persons, excluding the extremes of age, the comorbid people who actually may require the vaccine, if at all. And the target group was different, and endpoint was just raised in antibody levels. So this was at best a surrogate marker. And now whatever data we have got from countrywide, at the population level, mass vaccination rollout had not brought down neither the incidence, neither the deaths. If you see Japan is having, even the worldometer data, it is having almost 70-80% vaccination coverage. It has got the highest death rate today compared to pre-vaccination death rate. And Japan also never had a lockdown. But even without lockdown, it had much less mortality than today when it had got almost 80% vaccine. Similarly with Israel. So these are very hard data already available at population level, that after the vaccination rollout, there have been spikes in Israel, there have been spikes in Japan, spikes in Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Taiwan. You can just see these countries. So the data is not supporting mass vaccination. So there is enough evidence if we can go by the evidence.
Okay, thank you, sir. Rushil, here I would just like to ask you whether we need to take some break and rejoin because a lot of things are still remaining, or we should just go ahead.
No, we'll finish the questions first. We have Mayank Kashyap and
Mayank Kashyap, yes.
Both waiting.
Okay, so maybe Mayank Kashyap wants to ask.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask that we have noticed a sudden rise in cardiac arrest in the people below 40 years of age, which is not a definite age group to experience cardiac arrest. And a new condition has emerged courtesy of mainstream media and pharma giants, namely sudden adult death syndrome. And most of these deaths are being considered natural and no autopsies are being performed. So it only seems logical on their part to initiate something like this. How are we planning to counter this? Because what we are about to witness is exodus in the name of SADS, sudden adult death syndrome. Thank you.
Yes, actually, Rushil, can we have Professor Bhaskar here because he has some very important data to share about cardiac issues, what Mayank has asked.
He's not here. Let some doctor answer. I'll try.
Maybe Dr. Banu Prakash can answer this. Dr. Banu Prakash?
Okay, definitely they come up with new terms to cover up what the scam is. So we need to be truthful about it. We need to say that this is a complication, and definitely AV forms should be raised, and also compensation should be insisted and fought legally. This whole scenario of sudden deaths is, see, many people are not totally 100% healthy because of the lifestyle, the stress, the habits, and other things. So, a person who already has a mild problem, the problem gets exaggerated and leads to death because of cardiac arrest or liver failure or kidney failure or a stroke. So all the underlying minor problems are exaggerated because of the toxins in these injections. So that's why I call them as killer COVID injections. I don't name them as vaccines. These are killer COVID injections being peddled as vaccines. So let us understand, let us be truthful about it. So when these diseases, like pre-existing diseases, are exaggerated,
recording stopped.
To die for after maybe
Recording in progress.
Before. So this is what is the scenario now. So the whole idea of depopulation is to eliminate the marginally sick and the what do you say, the weakened ones. So this is some sort of a eugenics program which is happening. We need to come out with this. We need to be truthful about it, and let us fight it out so that I can. We all empower people about the knowledge and seek help for detoxification and treatment as early as possible. The truthful treatment, because many of the doctors who are peddling treatments are actually looting people. The same COVID mafia which has created the disease has bought all the hospitals across the world. In Karnataka, the Manipal group is invested through the Malaysia, through, indirectly from the US and indirectly from the European COVID mafia. So they have invested in all the regular hospitals, also the infertility clinics, also the cancer hospitals, because they know that all these diseases will worsen, there will be infertility, there will be cancers. So they are looting the people to bring people to bankruptcy and slavery. So let us understand the whole perspective and create awareness and ensure that as doctors we give the right treatment at the right time and ensure that the health of the greater population. Thank you.
Okay, Saraswati Kuala is there. I think she has raised her hand.
Yeah, hi, Saraswati Kapula. Well, thank you all to all the doctors. I know some of them already whom I have interviewed earlier. Actually, well, I've done some research regarding the children's vaccines. I think it's time we start talking about the entire vaccination matters. It's, of course, COVID, we have a direct, case right in front of us. So my two questions, it's rather suggestions. One is, La Quinta in Spain has been checking on the ingredients inside the vaccines, and they've been coming out with matters like graphene oxide and all that. Can we do something similar for all the Indian vaccines here? Because we are having Corbevax, we have now this Covaxin. We are not hearing that many side effects, as we are hearing about Covishield. Now, some people have come up to me and asked, is Covaxin a safer bet? Now, I would like the doctors to ponder on this, because most of the side effects we have seen are, especially the heart attacks, were reference to Covishield. Is Covaxin a lesser evil? One question. The second is, can we actually physically go ahead and start checking the ingredients inside these vaccines, the various vaccines that are being given, especially the ones to children, so we can have the data ourselves? And regarding the first shot, somebody was asking, we have seen deaths post first shot. One of our team members, one of my friends, she lost her daughter, 18-year-old. We have seen that. She lost her daughter after the first shot of Covishield. So how do we approach to the public? Because we are seeing that people are being absolutely healthy and suddenly they drop dead and they're dying. So what is it that we can tell people? You have to look out for these signs and symptoms if something is going wrong. I know the tests are there, the D-dimer tests we are talking about. So my two questions is, can we do a physical analysis of all these vaccines and their ingredients so we can present it? And second is regarding the shots, what is it that people can look for? What kind of signs and symptoms, anything, because people are saying we're all fine, and suddenly we find that that person is dropping dead and dying. That's the second issue. And one thing, somebody was talking about the clinical trials. Actually, with reference to the clinical trials, it is the job, actually, it is the onus upon the company to go back and check with each and every participant what is their health status, until 6 months after. But now this is a huge clinical trial experiment that has gone on all the live population. So can we bring those the same rules and put the pressure on the government of India? Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Lalit Kumar Anande wants to say something.
Yes, ma'am. These are all valid questions, and the problem is we are common people. Now I am a doctor, and I per se upfront am saying that the adverse event forms should have been filled by the site where they were taking. They are not at, in a sense that they have never been trained in good documentation practices, which is a norm of any clinical trials. Now, any person coming to them, it's just an oral thing. ऐसा होता है, बुखार आता है, ये होता है, ये होता है. This must have been a heart attack, something like that. And whatever the thing, it is their duty to document that thing. And the pharma company not doing all this thing itself is a big time blunder. This is what happened during the Nuremberg trial. And the trials which are done in World War II time, where prisoners of war were taken in, and many trials were done. And thereafter, the Nuremberg Code came, which stated that all these things of informed consent and all those other things which are there that has to be done, will come back again unless we tell it to our local representatives or the government. Why are they quiet about all these things? And they should now tell it, because it is now very open. People are saying that the permissions have been given by the government. Who the hell allowed that to happen? What was ICMR doing? What is CDCO doing? What are these authorities who are into clinical research doing by not documenting all these things? And whatever documentation is hardly 1% of whatever has actually happened at the grassroots level. And something awakening India has to happen now. It's a high time. It is too much now, whatever is happening. So it is the media who can pressurize it by writing it down over there, because one doctor saying it over here, one common man saying it over there in his family, whatever is happening is not going to help matter. It has to be a protest kind of thing now. It has to become an open now. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Talking about media, the mainstream media is really even now staying away from reporting all this, other than saying somebody has got a heart attack. No one is even publishing. I'm a freelance journalist, and I'm having so much censorship, not only from MSM but even on YouTube. We are trying our best. Yes.
Everybody is going to a victim now. The doctors who were giving now, yesterday only there was a news of a doctor from Nair Hospital who collapsed.
Yes. I think when this happens to the politicians, I'm not sure any one of them have taken the vaccine, but one or two BJP MLAs also died recently. So aside to that, regarding the co-vaccine, would you say, because there are a lot of people who are asking this question to me, is the co-vaccine lesser evil? Is it that are we seeing lesser impacts from co-vaccine because of the ingredients inside that vaccine?
We don't know about whether it is a co-vaccine, but then whatever questions when we are asking while taking down the history, it is coming down to now boiling down to COVID shield been taken in the month of June to September, that they are popping up their heads now with the adverse events. A lot of adverse events.
Among the AP reports I have done, there are at least.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, sir. Very sorry to interrupt you, but actually we are running short of time. So I think we can do these questions again in a few other conferences. We will definitely try to organize it. I think for now we will just have to hold on to our questions and move ahead. Okay. So we are done with the questions for today and now. Now I would like you actually to take you through a video which expresses our concerns, common concerns. So hereby we present our own grievance regarding the COVID shots. So Rushil, can you please share the video?
अब बस हो गया. There is no science, there is no logic, there is no common sense for mass COVID vaccination. Stop the shots.
Risk of young people dying due to COVID is extremely low, yet they were vaccinated. Number of post-vaccination cardiac events, including deaths, are rising. It clearly indicates risk of vaccination is far greater than the imagined benefit. Ab bas ho gaya. Stop the shot.
If you just look around and you see the amount of untimely deaths that you hear in the younger population, the kids as young as 15 to 14 years, I mean, it makes no sense for them to suffer from cardiac arrest. Then there are these long-term side effects in terms of respiratory issues, skin issues, autoimmune diseases, the number of cancers that have been detected more post the shots. So please stop the shots.
It's enough. Young people are dying of heart attack. और इतने लोगों को मारोगे यार. Stop this vaccine business, please.
So many heart attacks, herpes, autoimmune, post-stage cancer. Connect the dots. Bus ho gaya. Stop the shots.
Autoimmune disorders, cardiac arrest, and cancers are rampant due to vaccination. Stop the shots.
मेरे प्यारे भारतवासियों, जागिए, अपनी हेल्थ के बारे में, अपने आसपास में बढ़ती बीमारी को देखिए and stop the shots.
Enough is enough. Stop this biological homicide. Stop the shots.
Sudden adult death syndrome. Is this the new normal? Ab bas ho gaya. Please stop the shots.
People are dying because of this sort all across the world. And corrupt media, bureaucracy, pharma, and politicians are the real culprit. So please wake up and join the campaign. Stop the sort.
पहले ही हमारे देश की सारी आबादी बच्चों सहित कोरोना संक्रमित हो चुकी है और कोरोना के खिलाफ इम्यून हो चुकी है, जबकि अब वैक्सीन के बहुत से दुष्प्रभाव, जिसमें कि अचानक जवान लोगों को हार्ट अटैक्स और अप्रत्याशित मौतें भी शामिल हैं, अब वो हमारे सामने नजर आ रहे हैं। मैं भारत सरकार से, अपनी सरकार से और अपने साथी डॉक्टरों से अपील करता हूँ कि ये मास वैक्सीन कैंपेन अब तुरंत बंद किया जाना चाहिए। अब बस हो गया। Stop the shots.
People have increased autoimmune problems, people having sudden increased heart attacks and all that, all can be because of this adverse vaccine effects. बस हो गया. Stop the shots.
जरूरत है नहीं, नुकसान करता है, पब्लिक का पैसा बर्बाद करके यह घाटे का सौदा किसके लिए? स्टॉप द शॉट। कभी सोचा आपके स्वास्थ्य के साथ ये क्या हो रहा है और क्यों हो रहा है? अब बस हो गया। स्टॉप द शॉट्स।
Injuries and deaths following immunization are real and not rare. Adverse effects have been reported in India and in all countries, ranging from cancer, myocarditis, Guillain-Barré, paralysis, skin rashes, and many such which can be quite risky. So it's high time we stop this genocide. Up a bus karo, stop the shots.
Kidney failure, vein thrombosis, connect the dots, बस हो गया अब, stop the shots.
How many more deaths and how much more damage are we waiting for? बस हो गया, stop the shots.
How long will you go on with your false narratives, flip-flop narratives, and you try to fool everybody all the time? कभी इंसान की खुद की इम्यूनिटी पे भी थोड़ा भरोसा करो. अब बस हो गया. Stop the shots.
परेशान हो गया हूँ वैक्सीन के जबरदस्ती से. बस करो यार, बंद कर दो अभी ये सब चीज, बस करो.
अचानक इतने हार्ट अटैक्स, स्ट्रोक्स और कैंसर के पेशेंट्स कैसे बढ़ने लगे? कनेक्ट द डॉट्स, स्टॉप द शॉट्स.
Where is the data on safety and efficacy? There is no rigorous data, so stop the shots.
बहुत कर ली अपनी मनमानी, सब कुछ चला लिया तुमने और भुगत लिया हमने, चुपके से नहीं बल्कि विरोध करके. लेकिन अब ये मजाल कि बच्चों पे आ गए. बच्चे ये नहीं चलेगा, ये नहीं होने देंगे. अब बस हो गए. स्टॉप द शॉट्स नाउ.
भारत के जागरूक नागरिकों, कोविड वैक्सीन यह वैक्सीन नहीं है, लेकिन घातक केमिकल मिश्रण है. कोविड इन्फेक्शन से बच्चे नहीं मरते, यह घातक मिश्रण से बच्चे मरते हैं. बंद कीजिए ये वैक्सीन दिलवाने का पागलपन, बंद कीजिए.
With the CDC backtracking on 4 fundamentals governing the pandemic, its entire edifice has collapsed. Stop the shots.
Now, this unnatural antigen called COVID-19 vaccines and the mass inoculation, it goes against the principle of natural evolutionary defense and is likely to play havoc in the society and will spoil generations to come. It has not been able to prevent the disease. It has not given any physical advantage to our health, except for a political narrative and, of course, an obvious big economical advantage to pharma companies. So my request is, please stop.
तक रहेगा ये टीका अभियान और कितने डोज? जब तक रहेगा टीका जारी, तब तक रहेगी ये महामारी. This vaccination program is totally unscientific. There is no control group. And what about our natural immunity? अब बस हो गया. Stop the shot.
Enough is it. Stop the shots.
Yes, thanks, Rushil. I'm sure there will be many doctors with similar narratives like us, and we sincerely hope that our voices will never go unheard, but they will be valued too. See, it's a subject which can't be overlooked, and in any case, but rather needs urgent attention with immediate addressal from the concerned authorities. Hoping our campaign is taken up as a very positive demonstration. We would also like to call upon other doctors and concerned citizens to join us. Now, today, what we read about the manifesto, here is the website, wherein I request all doctors to go ahead and sign this medical crisis declaration, International Medical Crisis Declaration. We have taken actually a step ahead and, formed the Universal Health Organization, that is UHO. We welcome all Indian doctors as well as doctors from across the globe to visit the website and to know more about it. You can also go through Awaken India Movement website The contact details for the same, I will just read out the numbers. Rushil Tamboli, 9638831111. I repeat, Rushil Tamboli, 9638831111. And Nisha Koiri, 9821671733. Nisha Koiri, I repeat, 9821671733. So if anybody wants to come in touch with this campaign, you can always contact these people. So with this, we end our today's press conference. Thank you all for patiently, being here till the end and listening to all the doctors and their insights. Thank you, our respected panelists, as well as I will say the channels who have covered us live today, and most importantly, our media personals to ask the right questions to us. We sincerely hope that they will spread today's details with real concern for a better tomorrow. So thank you once again.
Recording stopped.
Yes, Rushil?
Yes, we can end our meeting now.
Okay, so you end it.